Hello, welcome to your Urban Connection. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about a story that I find laughable, but more than that, I found it disgraceful, disturbing, and disrespectful. And the story that I'm talking about is the story of Arlington Cemetery, which is a cemetery for our dignitaries and our military people and the home of a couple of our presidents. Now, the story that I'm about to tell you about involves the President of the United States and his Secretary of Defense and their racist, disrespectful behavior regarding our Black, Hispanic, and women who were buried in Arlington Cemetery. And basically, I want to talk about the gentleman, and when I say gentleman, I mean a real gentleman, that is one of America's most recognized, honest uh, representatives ever to serve his country. And he served his country in 4 different ways. I want to show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll tell you a little story about this guy, because I think you'll find this amazing just as I do. And the gentleman that I'm talking about is this guy right here, Colin Powell. Now, Colin Powell is one of the most respected servants to the American public that you will ever find in the history of this country. So let me give you a little background on this guy. And the reason I'm talking about this is because of the fact that despite his accomplishments, despite his 35 years of military service to this country, Colin Powell has had the website profile of him reduced by this president and by the current Secretary of Defense to being a DEI hire. So let's talk about this. Colin Powell, as I said, served 35 years in the military. He was a decorated general in the U.S. military. He served in Vietnam. But that's just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. You see, Colin Powell served as not only a decorated military man in the Army, Colin Powell served the United States as a national security advisor, first of all, and then he served as a Joint Chief of Staff in the Bush administration. He also served as Secretary of State in the Bush administration. Now, for the president to designate this guy as a DEI hire, I have a question for you, Mr. President. Which one of those accomplishments do you have on your resume? Did you serve in the military at all? Were you ever a national security advisor at all? Did you ever serve as Secretary of State at all? Were you ever a Joint Chief of Staff, Mr. President? No, I didn't think so, Mr. President. So for you to show a total disrespect for this man of integrity, this man of honor, this man that who so successfully served the United States, his country, in the manner with dignity, with integrity, and with extreme credibility, which you have shown none of. It's embarrassing. As I said, it's disturbing, and it's disgraceful, and it's disrespectful. Now, Mr. President, if that was not bad enough, and if you didn't show your ignorance and your racism by stooping to this low level of disrespect of an honorable, one of the most honorable men in this country that this country's ever known. If that wasn't bad enough, sir, you chose as what you would consider the best we have to be a Secretary of Defense in this man, Pete Hespeth. Now, Mr. President, you're saying that this, of all of the American men in this country, this is the best that you can find to be the Secretary of Defense? A guy who served 7 years? 7 years! And that was not 7 straight years, sir. He served 3 stints in the military to accumulate 7 years. And in that 7 years in the military, how did he conduct himself? This gentleman was branded, not by me, but by others throughout his entire adult life as an abuser of alcohol, or in other words, a drunk. He's been accused of mismanagement of funds for not one, but 2 not-for-profit small organizations. That's right, 2 small nonprofit organizations which he took to bankruptcy. He's been labeled even by his mother as an abuser of women. But you chose him because he was a talk show host for Fox News. And that's your idea of a rock star. Is that right, Mr. President? Because, sir, this man won't hold a candle to the credentials and the resume that Colin Powell had. That's right. But you see, Mr. President, we know why you stoop so low, because you don't have a good feeling for an honorable man such as Colin Powell, because you see, to you, his skin was black, and with you, that's a no-no. But more than that, sir, he didn't lick your boots, even though he was a Republican. You see, Mr. President, Colin Powell refused to be associated with you in any way. But you know what? That's not so odd when you think about the fact that, you know, as I stated, Colin Powell served for and was appointed by George W. Bush. And Mr. President, we have to recognize the fact that not only Colin Powell But there's not a single individual that served in the George Bush administration that has endorsed, nor supported, nor licked your boots, nor pledged any loyalty to your presidency, nor your campaigns. None of them, not one. So we understand where you're coming from, Mr. President and Mr. Hespeth. You both are cut from the same cloth, okay? You both are losers. Mr. President, you cannot make money in the casino business. Sir, you want to call yourself a deal maker. You want to call yourself a negotiator. No, sir. You see, Mr. Powell didn't see you as either one. Mr. Powell saw you as a con man. He saw you as a grifter. He saw you as a fraudster. And he saw you as a sexual assault perpetrator. That's how he saw you. So he didn't want to have anything to do with you. And that upset you. That upset you. Because of the fact, first of all, you were jealous of his accomplishments, which you have none of. Never served one day in the military. As a matter of fact, you went out of your way to avoid having to serve. You use fake medical records, sir. And yet, you're the very one that came out and said people that serve in the military are suckers and losers. Oh, yes, that was you, Mr. President. Okay? So, you know, I can understand why you feel so down on Colin Powell. You see, he was not your kind of African American. You see, you're accustomed to the bootlickers like Tim Scott, Byron, what's Byron? Byron, whatever his name is, Byron Donalds. Okay, Byron Donalds. Dr. Ben Carson. Those are the kinds of African Americans you're accustomed to. Okay, but that could not be found in Colin Powell. So you didn't like him. He wasn't loyal to you. He didn't jump and dance to your music. He didn't tap toe for you, sir. See, those are the things that you find in Hespeth. Okay, he's loyal. He will lie for you. But you got to remember one thing. If they'll lie for you, they will lie to you. Okay? So Pete Hespeth is not your best asset, even though you might not believe it, but he's very loyal. And that's all that matters to you. Now, I want to say that also included in this DEI delineation that the president and Mr. Hespeth labeled was not only limited to Mr. Colin Powell or General Colin Powell or Secretary of State Colin Powell or Chief of Staff Colin Powell, but it also included such notable Black people as the boxer Joe Louis. Okay, you see, he included Joe Louis as also a DEI. See, anybody that did not lick your boots, okay, and not only now since you became president, but even before you even entered politics. You see, so Mr. Hespeth and Mr. Donald J. Trump, you've shown the whole world, sir, just who you are by denigrating, disrespecting, disgracing notable honorable, credible African Americans who brought nothing but dignity to the United States, something that you, sir, have not done and are not doing, and I don't think has the capacity nor the competence to do. See, because each and every day you continue to show how little qualification you have to be a president of the United States of America. You're showing even right today, the whole world, sir, how little and few qualifications you have to be the president. And yet you want to talk about a DEI hire? And you want to call Colin Powell a DEI hire? It's laughable, but it's not laughable because it shows the stoop and how low you will stoop to mock somebody whose accomplishments outweigh yours. And you can't stand it if they're black. Okay? It really disturbs you to the bottom of your heart. But let's be honest, sir. You've got it naturally. It stems from your dad. And like they say, like father, like son. You will never, never achieve the greatness, the respect, the dignity that Mr. Colin Powell had during his lifetime. And the only regret that I have is that Colin Powell did not live long enough, sir, to see you not only as a grifter and a con man and a womanizer and a sexual assaulter, but he didn't live long enough to see you become a convicted felon. That's my only regret. Hats off to you, Mr. President. Hopefully, but you probably won't do it, but hopefully you would learn a little bit more about Mr. Colin Powell and learn how you could utilize some of the intelligence, the dignity, the integrity, and the gracefulness of this honorable man who served this country in a manner which you never will. Okay? All right, folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.